Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And man, oh my God, I've been waiting for this for quite some time right now. My guest today is definitely one of our heroes. When I say our, yes, one of our heroes. I'll tell you why. We'll try to dig deep, but I'll tell you why. He's currently the Vice President of Strategy and Market Development, Wana at Empire. I think that alone tells you why. Empire is the leading independent label, distributor, and publisher in the US, and the first label to actually open a division in the US to help grow the local scene in West Asia, North Africa, and its diaspora. Now, before that, this incredible human being worked with Spotify as the global lead of Arab music and culture, helping to build and launch in West Asia and North Africa. He did a lot of incredible initiatives, all these playlists that you guys like, from Yalla Today, Top Hits, Arab X, Shisha Lounge, Global X. You know, this man was definitely responsible for it, curating more than 120 playlists that definitely pushed the culture. In 2016, mashallah, he helped launch Complex. I remember those days. Snapchat Discover channel, which is the fastest growing platform in the history of Complex Network. What? Now, in the 90s, that's how I know him, really well. He co-founded the hip-hop crew DAM, the first Arab hip-hop group out of West Asia. He is somebody who is one of our heroes, an incredible human being. I personally looked up to this brother for quite some time, so I can't believe I'm actually having this discussion with him right now. And I don't know, without further ado, we want to try to get to know the man behind all these incredible, titles. Peace and love. Assalamu alaikum. Suhel.
Habibi, man. Thank you, man. Thanks for the introduction. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited because we've been chatting for so long, and this is probably the second time we do it, but this is the first time that it's recorded.
Facts. يعني زي ما نقول يخرب بيتك. ما شاء الله عليك. صراحة يا سهيل. تحياتي الكبيرة لك, man, و God bless you. حنتكلم عربي وإنجليزي, you guys. That's how it's going to be. And with everything that you've done, bro. First of all, Anna, I want to say this is me. Congratulations, Alf Mabruk, VP of Strategy and Market at Empire. This is a big deal. We'll definitely get into that. But Alf Mabruk, I think you are an incredible person for that. And shout out to you guys. And just as wow. I want to know, how did it all start with you as Suhel? Tell me about, tell me about Lid. I got to shout out, the Yalla Talk team. You were there actually just yesterday, obviously, yeah. And some of the things that you said there about like Tupac and how, the shooting, you are watching music videos of Tupac as if you're watching things in your neighborhood. Just tell me, how did this passion for hip hop start with you guys?
Well, we were three at DAM, so each one was almost in a different age, but different way to get connected to hip hop. But we all got connected for the same reason. So, growing up in Lid is a town in between Jerusalem and Jaffa, which considered Palestine 48, the historical Palestine. Lid, when I was born, early 80s, was one of like those towns that had a lot of great activists, had a lot of cultural movement, had a lot of great people, youth centers and things like that, of people who cared to do good things. But towards the late, from 80s till 90s, poverty hit hard in this area, where we had a lot of, it became the number one top drug and weapon market in the Middle East, where we had a lot of crime, had a lot of Arab crime. We lost a lot of friends, we lost neighbors, not just that killed or got in jail. Even when in school, I would remember kids would be disappearing and then realize they're in jail or
Ya Allah,
something.
Man.
So that was our day-to-day life, where drugs were around, junkies were around, that the neighborhood just kept going worse and worse and worse from day to day. And that was our reality. That's how we grew up.
But you
And
decided to do something about it, like with that. I remember talking to, I got into blogging. I'll let you continue. So I got into blogging in 2007. I launched Revolt. I remember hitting up Ramallah Underground, and we were talking. And at that point, I didn't know really nothing, because as a kid growing up in Saudi Arabia, to be honest with you, we were not educated about the situation in Palestine. And that's why I love Low-Key, because he was one of those guys that educated me about what's going on in Palestine. And then from him, I started to know from, Shadia and then DAM, and I started getting my news from you guys.
Chuck D said it in one of his verses when he said hip hop is the CNN of the streets, and it's a fact. That's what it is, and that's how we felt. We felt that responsibility, that the way we knew about Native Americans, the way we knew about the Latino culture, the way we knew about the Black American struggle, the way we knew about the poverties here, we wanted other people in the world to know about our poverty. We wanted that exchange. We wanted to put the word out. And we saw it working when we saw the lyrics, and we learned so much from hip hop. And I'll give you some example, a specific example. I knew that our schools and the school system that we have as Palestinian 48er is controlled by the Israeli government. So I knew that the knowledge that we're getting is censored, and it's trash, and it's just playing with our minds. Right? But then when I listened to Depress song saying they school us, I was like, that's what's going on with us. That is what's happening. If you read every word by word in that song, you'll understand what I mean when I say they school us. So it kind of helped me articulate our situation without knowing to articulate before that song. So hip hop helped us evolve, understand us, which is so weird, because I learned about Mumi Abu Jamal first, and then learned about our prisoners after, like more depth, and having names to them, and having titles to them, and having their stories in the background more. And that was like a whole boomerang effect that helped us grow and evolve as human. And our lyrics has changed constantly. If you notice, from song to song and from sound-wise, we realized, okay, we want our priority is to have us as a brand, as identity, to be out. Our word need to be out. How do we do it right? We have to take the popular sound, the right quality, but still keep the same right words that we want to deliver. And how do we match these two together and stay authentic to ourselves? And that's how we worked constantly on ourselves.
Man, yeah, I remember watching Slingshot Hip Hop. One of my favorite parts is when Tamer, he was like looking at kind of CDs or whatever it is, and he's saying, they talk about this, they talk about that, and then at the end طلعت انه كيف ما تبغوني احب الهيب hop. Like he's talking about struggle, empowerment, and like you're living. I love, this is one of the reasons why I love hip hop. Again, I'm not an artist or a DJ or whatever, but you guys were able to take this art form and use it. When I talked to Ramallah Underground, one of my questions to them was like how difficult it is, and they said, Has, there's a tank outside our door. What do you want me to rap about? Like at this point,
it's an experience. It's a different experience. Yeah. Where they at is a whole different experience than what the artist is at, and where we were at. Where even where we were at, it was different from people who were living just 5-10 minutes away in a different village. Unfortunately, it is different level of mental occupation, but also like physical, militant occupation, things like that. Man. But that's what got us into hip hop. That's why we got connected to hip hop. That's back in the days, we had only 2-3 channels on TV. We didn't have internet, right? We didn't have that, because DAM started bit like right after internet came to us, to our house at least. So the TV that we were watching mostly had, and I give the example many times of ولا واحد ولا مية ولا 1300 and Hakeem running in the market.
ولا واحد ولا مية.
I love this song, right? It makes it fun. But remember the video, he's chasing a girl in the middle of the market. If we do that in Med, we'll get killed the next day, right? It wasn't our reality. Our reality was like more getting chased by police, And from a personal experience, getting kidnapped by police, putting in a room north of my city, I was locked in one room, thrown on the floor, getting beat up for a straight 30 minutes, just like having boots of soldiers on my face where I was injured then. And that was my reality. That was what I was connected with.
Yeah, I definitely want to move forward, but what you're saying with that, I don't know if again, I don't want to bring bad memories to you, but I'm very interested as well in the mental, like right now, where you at right now. When you look back at this kid who, you joined your brother. You were there at the studio session when he first recorded. When like you're getting into this culture. When you look back and you're facing all these things, that you just talked about. What do you tell him? Like, do you tell him you're gonna be okay? You're gonna be like the VP at Empire. What do you tell him? What do you say to him?
That was always the goal, to keep growing and to build and evolve and to build a scene that didn't exist at first, to build an economic system that can support me to grow, to help others grow and things like that. That was always the plan. And I think since I was a kid, I was a bit of a hustler that I knew how to figure out. Like I always looked at issues and challenges as opportunities on how we could actually fix it and try to creatively thinking to fix those things. Would I say that I knew that I'm going to be here today? No, I didn't know that. Did I plan it? Yes, definitely. I wanted that. I had it on my list. I wanted to do this. Even when DAM started, we all said, okay, this is how we're going to grow. We're all going to have also solo careers. We're all going to have like singles, separate solo albums. We're all going to go back to each other and do something. And then we all want to do books. We all wanted to do films. We all wanted to do like projects and business projects. We wanted to build a whole like brand that is not just singers, because we wanted to be more than that. We wanted to create a whole movement, and that was something that if you look back in the early stage, we were saying we're not a group, and we're not just a hip hop group. We want to create a movement, and that was the main focus for us. How do we do that? Wow. It's just also like the city we came from, like Ramallah, for example, has some cultural centers, have something. Lid doesn't have anything. Like the spots that you want to hang out in is like the ghetto shisha spots. That's it. Like there isn't. We don't have nightlife. We don't have. It's a small town that doesn't have anything really.
Man.
Even though historically had a lot. So growing up there, I didn't have, like, realistically where I am wouldn't really work. Like this person here and now here doesn't match. But that was the hope, and that was the goal, and that was the plan.
Wow. No, I think anyone who knows you personally knows how I love what you said about finding a problem. And I think I fall into that sometimes. That's one of my mistakes in terms of it's a problem and I complain. You take it in a way and you solve it, which is incredible. I wanted to
that's learning from where we come from a place that didn't have anything. I can give you like a really specific example of things that actually made me fall into this type of mentality and think this way. There was a situation in my city in when there was this area called Dahmash, and the city, the Israeli government wanted to demolish 13 houses. And if those 13 houses would be demolished, that would keep around 60 kids out in the streets homeless, right? So we gathered around with a lot of friends and community. And we came up with this idea that we're gonna create the dates of the demolition. We're gonna create a whole summer camp and just go camp there. And we're gonna just create a whole summer camp for the kids and bring all our friends artists. And just talk to the producers, talk to everyone that has sound system, bring that sound system, and every night we're going to end it with a huge show. And then that's what happened. You had Wala Isbet, Terez Sleiman, Tut Ard, and DAM, and like all this like artists coming from all around, with all this activists coming all around, from all this like people, just the streets people coming around, and building a summer camp out of nothing. And then calling Abed Daadli, who's like the sound engineer of every artist from Palestine and Jordan, and does a lot of big events. He's the one that builds the stages. And it's like, I'll get you the sound system. I'll figure it out. Like everything was free. Nobody got paid from anything. And then we created, and then the only thing we miss is like stage. We don't have stage. How are we going to build this huge stage for all these people? Because then we realized there's like hundreds of people that are coming. So then we come up with the idea to bring 2 trucks, and each truck would reverse. So it's the reverse, the back of the truck, and the shahin like this, and then push this up, and then put the sound system on top, and then perform there. And that was the best stage I've ever been. To be honest. And that means like figuring out. And then those houses weren't demolished, and because we ended it with protests and everything stopped. That one of the project with the lawyers, of course, with the activists, with a lot of big movements that happened, saved this type of situation back then.
Man.
So that was totally that is the meaning of doing something out of nothing and finding an issue or challenge it, figure it out a way creatively how to.
You just summed up why I love you, because like someone like you who been through this experience and being in the position where you are right now, I have hope. Like I really have hope. Just a couple of things just before we close the damn chapter. Obviously, you guys, when I saw Slingshot, meeting Chuck D, I saw your faces. It was just incredible. You guys were saying it was so short, but it was amazing. I met him. I think I met him around 2014, and it was he changed my life. Like in that like kind of 15-20 minute. How important is for someone like Chuck D, who does a lot of political rap, obviously, and a very, very, in your face rap and what he means for hip hop, to kind of co-sign, and you guys meeting him and taking pictures with him and just him knowing you and saying, damn, like damn. What did that mean to you?
That was definitely a dream that came true that day. I remember it well. It was great. The interview was awesome, and him being an ally for our situation was awesome. For him to hear someone that speaks, that went through a lot, and still being an ally and being a supporter to our situation is important. It's the right. This is what hip hop is.
And I love the fact that when he answered you, said salam alaikum. It was you like said assalamu alaikum, like peace be upon you. That's how we say salam. That was incredible. And he replied, wa alaikum salam.
Yeah. He's awesome. So to see that behind the scenes is also collaborative, and sometimes you meet artists that you love, and then you're like, I wish I never met this artist in person. But he was like, damn, that was amazing, right? And another thing that actually, the next time we came to the US for a tour, he wrote us the paper to get the visa. He was our referral.
Wow.
He was like, me entering the US.
What?
But because of public enemies, like
Ya Allah, wallahi, Gash'ari, wallahi, my part, no way. You don't understand what that means, you guys. Like these guys do political rap at that point in Palestine, right? Public Enemy does what they do in the US. They got them. Oh Allah, man, this is. You can't write these things. You can't write it. Like you can't. Wow. Are you guys still in touch? Like, do you talk once in a while?
Last time I think that we were in touch, it was when. Ahad Tamimi was arrested, and there was a video around Black Palestine solidarity, and he sent it.
Yeah.
So that was the time I talked to him to send this page, because I was part of making that video happen.
Amazing. Meen Irhabi, I think it's not only classical in Arabic rap. I'm just my opinion. Classical in the music scene community in Arabia generally, because what it means. And how you guys we're doing it. I love the fact that you said always, you said it in Slingshot, you've said it in many, in interviews that you've done, in terms of how you always got better and how you evolved and how there's always evolved. What did Meen Irhabi, where is Meen Irhabi? يعني هل هي كانت نقلة نوعية لدام ولا what does Meen Irhabi mean to you guys after all these years now?
Meen Irhabi was a good therapy session, I would say, because we were so angry. Crazy stories that we didn't know how it's going to affect. We were just like kids with something that was in our heart that we wanted to put out. The crazy story is that was recorded in 2001. And then we were touring in 2003 in Europe. We were in Paris, and it happened that there was a protest because of Iraq. We just decided to step in the protests and to just march with all the people. It was one of the biggest protests against the war in Iraq. And then while we marching, we see people giving like papers, printed papers to everybody. And I look at it, I was like, it's French, I don't know what the fuck is that. Then so the person next to me who speaks French, he's like, do you see this? That's the lyrics of Meen Irhabi. I was like,
No.
what?
Wow.
So that was being shared.
Translated to French.
Translated to French, just the Meen Irhabi translated to French, and it was like spread around the protest. And was like, I think it was around 150,000 people in the streets marching. Like a lot of people just spreading, like giving this paper around. Then other places in the world was different, but people still were connected to it. That's the power of music. That's the power of not just hip hop, just music.
But again, it affected me again. Saudi Arabia, you know, one of the most conservative countries in the world at that point, and I remember like wow. And so DAM, obviously that go ahead.
Being taught in some universities and school, they teach the lyrics of slingshot hip hop in general, but also like some of them lyrics.
No, that's blessings, man. For DAM, obviously, the Arabian MCs, the evolution of it. Like people say, DAM, like where are we right now? What does DAM stands for? After all, I had to have my son right here. He came through. All right, DAM right here. So what's DAM now in 2021?
DAM الشيء الذي يدوم, where it's no longer three dudes. It's led by Maysa now, Maysa Daw, and it's an evolution of name. It's the evolution of the brand itself and the people that is in the brand, but also the evolution of the look of the brand as well, of where it got through. And so yes,
you understand how big the thing that you just said right now? Like you understand that this is a group that started in Lid. Out of love for hip hop, and now you're saying the evolution of it. It's still there. The consistency and the relevancy is there, but different mindset, different energy, different impact,
different strategy. So it's still the same strategy, the same goals, but different strategies all the time. It's like we're all on the boat, and the wind keep hitting us straight, and you have to zigzag. You can't just keep going straight this way. You have to zigzag all the time. So we're zigzagging still. So DAM started as DAM, like DAMN, but then the N was dropped off, and then it's this DAM, the Arabian MCs. But then we realized it's not like smart name. So growing up, and then it became like DAM Blood. But then we're like, no, Dal Alif Meme is not blood. Dal Meme is blood. And then it became like DAM Shay Alladhi Yadum. And then we mixed all the history together back then, and we said, okay, even if we see blood, DAM will stay here forever. And ad ma yakun sa'b, ash ma yakun, we will be here.
You know, one of the things that someone said to me the other day, and I've shared your music to him, and he said to me something interesting. It's like edutainment. He said it's like it's education and entertainment at the same time. It's like the message comes through, and I think this is the evolution we were talking about. Maybe back then you were saying you're angry with Meen Irhabi, but right now the messages that you bring and how you bring it, I think it's do you guys also see that? Like, are you deliberately doing this?
The way you use, I never heard the term, the educate.
Edutainment. Yeah. It's a mix between education and entertainment.
Yeah, I haven't heard that before, but I think that's the right term to use. That's how, at first it was, there's a feeling that you need to do something, and then you understand why you do it, and then you understand that there's a bigger picture that you need to do it better, and then it's an evolution of a mind, a type of a mindset that keep evolving. And the reason it got to a point where Maysa is part of it, like, DAM was singing about women rights just as we sang about Palestinian right or any human right. And we thought and it was for us. It was hand in hand, and was it this or this? It has to be both together. It's the same struggle. And then, and we always thought like, yeah, it makes sense that actually a woman would do that. Not just us talking about women, right? It needs to be a woman one day. And we said, yeah, it would happen one day if we feel it. And with Maysa, it happened organically.
She's so fierce, man. Allah yahmikum kullakum. It's not about thank you for doing that, but she is mad fierce. I don't care, male, female. I'm not in that discussion. Dope MC, a rapper, a singer, a human being. Just she's mad. And then Hannah, man, I'm talking about you personally as Suhel now. Was Brooklyn like your salute, or like where is Suhel and DAM now? Like, because I'm sure it's in you, it'll never get out. But like, yeah.
No, DAM is still like, it's a family. It's not, like I said, it's a movement. It's not just a band. The album was in the process. So it wasn't that easy to fly home and just be like, hey, well, I'm back. I wasn't so involved, but I dropped some verses here and there, like few bars. Brooklyn was me dropping the mic, me saying goodbye, me packing my suitcases and saying I love you all, but I'm on a whole new journey right now.
MashaAllah. Yeah.
And yeah. So
I'm gonna play a little bit of Brooklyn right here after this, just to show. Best man, that's incredible. Wow, man. I'm just like I'm emotional because watching you, like we're talking about it right now, but like back then how it was and where you are right now, it's just wallahi, I'm proud of you, bro. Wallahi, everyone is proud of you. Everyone who's seeing this is proud of you. Okay, the move to New York. You've always said that you had that mind. Putting that mic down, how difficult was it for you? Well, khalas, until you knew it. Like, Kobe Bryant, rest his soul in peace. He said, listen, I knew, like, I just didn't want to do this anymore. I'm done playing basketball. And he was okay with it. Like, he was clear. SubhanAllah, God had, other plans with him. And he left too soon. Rest in peace, Mamba. But for you, how, like, did you know, khalas? Or was it like, why that decision?
We don't have enough artists on stage, but we almost don't have any backstage. And I felt that there need to be somebody that is willing to say, okay, I can do this better, actually. And it comes with like, it comes with, I don't want to say like to be brave to do it, but it's just like almost like pushing yourself.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. To be like, no, but you to go there. You could
pushing
do
and knowing yourself more. Like you know that you can do a better job there, and that will push the band or the group or whatever.
Yep. And the way it happened is that I had to move to the US 7 years ago. And the reason that I had to move to the US is because Jackie was which I also talk about in Brooklyn. I mention it. That I tell the whole story of why I moved. Jackie is half Palestinian, half Syrian.
Shout out Jackie.
Yeah. So it would be harder for her to come and move there and live there, just from political reason, paper reason, and getting her an ID and all that. It would be way harder, and it would be, love under apartheid is a term that we use in Palestine. Love under apartheid is difficult. So I had to make that move. That was the main reason I moved. I moved for her, not for the career, not for anything else.
God bless.
And then when I moved here, it happened organically because at first I'm working on the green card, working on getting the papers, not being allowed to work, not being allowed to travel. So I had finally the time to sit by myself, where I didn't have it before, while touring, while recording, having a lot of that, having friends, and being constantly around noise like great noise. Noise is not a bad thing, but having a lot of amazing things around me constantly. I never had that alone time where, okay, now it's time for me to rebuild what I've been thinking.
Wow.
And I just sat down and I اشتغلت على إنجليزياتي, اشتغلت على my business. I pushed myself out of the comfort zone constantly.
Were you scared? Like, was there fear? Because obviously you're in the US right now, and how were you able to sustain and live your life like that? كان في خوف ولا؟
في أمريكا صعبة من ناحية نيويورك، عشان هيك بقول if you make it in New York you make it everywhere. هذا الجملة اللي هي اللي عشتها وفهمتها انه سمعتها قبل وفكرت انها بس جمله، بس لما تفوت غادر تفهمها عن جد. It's literally like a concrete jungle with a lot of things are moving around you constantly. There's a lot of talent. If you think you're unique, you're special, or whatever you think you are, when you go there, it humbles you. The experience there, like you get, you wake up constantly, like new challenges, and you constantly hustle. New York is a whole different level.
The Snapchat, like tell me about that, because that was just wow. I'm just like kind of reading here, just making sure. It's the fastest growing platform in the history of complex networks. So mashallah, what were you able to do there, and how did you know that you were like Snapchat? Yo, tell me about that.
Snapchat was new.
Yes.
It was, I think it only had around like 19 Discover channels.
Wow.
And now,
I remember that.
all those channels were like white American culture. There wasn't anything else. It was challenging because they were like, in the next 2 weeks, we have to create more than 70 pieces of content in 2 weeks. It means every day, 15 videos, all animated, based tutorial content that is in the style of Snapchat. I was the first to be hired to do that, but then in 2 weeks, Snapchat approved us as the next official channel. So got to train all the rest of the team that they hired there, and to start building a daily Snapchat Discover channel news. So in about a year and a half, I worked on almost 6,000 videos.
What?
6,000 videos of content, every day, sometimes to 30. First week, got 4 million subscribers.
That is insane.
Yeah, it was super challenging. It was tough for the culture, but a lot of it, things that I didn't care about too, because it was also pop. And I was like, I don't want to do a story about Kim Kardashian. I don't care about that. But I learned from all this type of things.
Oof. Oh man, I'm just blown away with
number 20 channel. I think that was number 20, the channel number 20 that entered Snapchat. And that was like at the height, like when before Instagram stories. Instagram stories didn't exist then yet.
Yeah. Well, I'm just imagining if you haven't seen that, thing on Facebook or the Snapchat, what would you have done in that period? If Snapchat wasn't there, would you have like animated your own things?
Yeah, I was always doing that. I was working on, I was right before that. I was actually in Zimbabwe to shoot a documentary for UN Women. So, because my wife and I together were like a production company. We could direct, shoot, edit, and animate, and all that together.
MashaAllah.
So we were doing some projects.
Powerhouse right there. Power couple, man. I'm telling you guys, wow.
And I'm a morning person. She's a night person. So it's a company that run 24 hours. That's how we did it.
That works. Yeah, that works. Yeah, Allah, that's so funny. No, but God bless you.
But I was also doing some music videos. I was doing, a bunch of projects, all music, film, culture related.
Okay. Wow. طيب, so a Spotify chapter is very interesting to me because obviously I moved here 4 years ago to the UAE from Saudi, and it was obviously for my son who's autistic. And then I started, obviously, like with streaming, I think that the streaming here in this region, still wasn't like the same as it is right now, in my opinion, especially in the Middle East, Levant, GCC, not North Africa. North Africa is a different beast, mashallah. But into with Spotify, I was like, Ya Allah, alhamdulillah. This was not only my reaction, bro. It was many people's reaction. I was like, whoa. Somebody that knows us, somebody that believes in us, somebody that knows our thing. And you created this, was it the Arab Culture Hub?
Yeah, the Arab Hub.
Man, I want to know whose idea was it to create that?
Her name is Rufia. She was the first to build the Latin playlist.
And that inspired as well. Amazing.
Yeah. The first person to do any playlist for Latin culture, from the Viva Latino and all the bodegas. She was the first to do that. And she came up with that idea of like, okay, if we could do it to Latin culture, we should do it to other cultures.
Shout out to her, and shout out to everybody. But when you heard this, you're like, I can take on something like that, because again, it's such a huge, monumental. When somebody would go to the Arab Hub, they would see everything, and we're very diverse, very unique, very different inside Arabia itself.
Well, the way, yeah. So when I heard about that, which I got this job opportunity, so many people sent it to me. They're like, this is you, please, I want it. You know, I want it. What do you mean? Here's something about behind the scene. They want me to launch the Arab Hub right away. There wasn't any office in Dubai yet. There wasn't anyone else except me for this culture and teams. And they wanted me to launch before launching there. And I was like, I looked at our situation as Arab world. كلنا مكسرين مقسمين. We're like so broken, not synced. And I was like, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to wait, launch the same day we launch there. I'm going to do something that never been done before, where any platform or any company or any brand that launched in markets, they just launch it in market to salamat. Right. I was like, no, I'm going to do it different. We're going to launch there. The day we launch in the Arab world, we'll launch the cultures of the Arab world outside the Arab world too, where we'd have something called Arab Hub, and the Arab Hub would be in all the countries around the world for people who love Arabic music, for Arab diaspora, and for people who don't know anything about it to discover it. That's why I created something called Arab World Sound, where it was like, the Palestine sound, the Tunisia sound, Sudan sound, كله كان مرتب هيك. Because I wanted to create that experience of like, you're coming to visit us through the
أهلاً
sound.
وسهلاً.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the creative direction of it, the way I built it was the opposite of what people see us. Desert type of colors. I was like, no, I'm going pop, I'm going pink, I'm going blue. So the concept was that we'll launch it in a unique way and stay authentic and try to show how diverse we are. I wanted to put that experience in that hub.
Yeah, but you don't understand when you did that, Suhel, it was such a breath of fresh air for a lot of us right here, just watching. One of the things I love about you, and I don't know, I think I told you this before, I'm telling you again, is how you also focus on the diaspora. Like, this is important. Like, they are as important as the people inside. I get your vision now after like getting to talk to you off air and stuff like that. It's very important. Maybe you can tell the people listening why, because I know why, but I want you to tell them why do you think also representing and pushing the diaspora, because people tend to forget, to be honest with you. I'm always here, I always get asked, and I'm like, yeah, 1, 2, 3, but don't forget the Arabs who are out there, like in Europe, in the US and stuff like that.
So I had the opportunity and that experience that is different than many, that when I'm local at the end of the day. Like, I was born in Palestine. I was there till I was 30 years old. But half of that time, of those 30 years, I was traveling a lot. I was touring a lot. I was, like, while performing DAM, was staying like at people's houses or people's couches sometimes. So like, we got to a lot of the time to connect with the diaspora and build this type of a bridge that was an interesting concept to me that I didn't know about before. And then I became a diaspora. I became an immigrant. So I had the local experience and then the connection through touring a lot from Europe to around places in Asia and the US and around the world, right? So connecting the dots, and then ended up being an immigrant, actually myself being part of the diaspora. So seeing this from like all those angles, it gave me a whole new perspective about it, and learning from other diasporas. India diaspora is a great example because it's a huge diaspora. They do, like, for example, there's something that I think they do diaspora every January or something like that. They fly to India, they book a whole conference where they meet with locals, they build a whole system and type of thinking of how do we do better and how do we build bridge in between each other.
Wow.
Right. And that has become really successful, and it's growing, and it's helping the economics within India. So the way I see diaspora, it's a whole market within the big markets. It's a whole different economic system that is sending so much billions of dollars out of the US yearly is going home. So all those money that is going home, why is it going home? How is it going home? Who's sending it home? And all this, it's a really important thing that we need to think about it and see how we build something out of it and connect it the right way. Yeah. And grow it the right way, because it would help the economics back home too.
But subhanAllah, Sina, we're talking where my attention was music, but then you flip it. Like, it's life. Like what you're saying is life. If people send money, and they want to work every day, like it is there. Like, you're right. You're absolutely right how you did it. What was like the most challenging thing you faced during this like period? Inta Suhel? Because I know, mashallah, you take challenges. تحطمها. But what was the most thing that challenged you in this process?
Explaining to people to understand that diaspora is a thing that is, people need to understand it. People don't understand it unless you experience it, unless you have family, unless you have this. They don't understand. I think in the next 5 years, it's going to become for every company in the world as a priority. And it's coming, and I've seen it growing from zero to where it is now. So it was challenging to constantly explain to people. There's 420 million Arabs around the world, close to 200 million living outside the Arab world. If you look at Latin America, there's 30 million Arabs over there. If you look at Brazil, there are more Lebanese in Brazil than in Lebanon. There's a lot to connect here, and we're not seeing it right, I think. And that's what constantly been doing and building. And I want to do it culturally. Just like how countries politically and economically has an embassy, we need a cultural ambassador. We need an embassy for music. This is what I'm building. That's why I'm at Empire Wana. I'm not creating just signing artists. With Empire, it's literally launching an embassy for the artists, for the culture, for the economics. That's the concept that I'm going with. That's the type of meeting that I'm having.
Yo, I don't know, man. You just put the bar so up, man. The conversation, how you said it, man. I don't know what to say. Wallahi, Allah yahmeek. I don't know what to say, because everything you're saying makes total sense. It's like a kullu check mark. It's just you keep doing it. And to be honest with you, Suhel, you're making it look easy. I've been trying to. No, it's not easy, but the way you're talking, yani, mashallah. And I love that, because it's like watching Michael Jordan play, right? He would do this move. You try to copy that move. You're like, hey, how did he do that move? It's, he make it look easy. Just before, one question about the Spotify chapter. Did that give you pressure being in Spotify where you are right now? And I think it's going to be the same question with Empire. But Spotify, a lot of artists would see, oh, hey, this guy works there. Let me send him my music. Let me do this. Let me, the hustle. And did that give you any sort of pressure, or you welcome people, or did you handle everything? How did that go?
Well, definitely, because at the end of the day, I wanted to support artists. That's, somebody who came from an artist background. I constantly kept taking myself out of myself and looking at myself from outside, from an artist. I was like, what is the artist me would want me to do? And that's how I kept looking at myself constantly. And I noticed that a lot of the time people take this type of positions as an opportunity, and they become opportunists and become doing it wasta, and that's it. And just looking at myself from an artist perspective, I was like, nah, you have responsibility here. You are responsible. You have to do it right. And the pressure that artists gave me were nothing compared to the pressure that I gave myself. I was like, nah,
wow.
I can do it right. But, So, and of course, it would be hard to do it right for everybody. I'm sure there were so many artists that deserved to be in a better situation, and I probably missed out on them or something like that. But artists have to know that you have to do more than you don't have to chase anyone or any playlist or any editorial or any company. You have to chase your own self. You have to build yourself. There's so many things. Spotify is streaming platforms in general is only one piece out of this big cake. It's not the whole cake.
Oh yeah.
They don't have videos. There's so many things that lives outside in different places. So yes, there was responsibility, but I didn't think it's right to say, I'm the hero here, I'm the champion. No, there's so many other things out there that artists need to do.
Yeah, well,
the same thing.
Yeah, no, I love you, bro. Okay, so I think it was February 18th. You posted this. I mean, I've seen it on your post. Empire expands to West Asia and North Africa. Hires Suhel Nafar as VP. And I'm like, whoa. I swear to God, you should see. It's like my phone fell off. Yo, I sent it to everybody. I sent it to the people that I really know well. And they were like, what? The brain emoji. Believe me, I'm excited right now. But back, when it happened, I was more excited. And I'm pretty sure something like this, you guys been, it's been in the talks. I don't know, like how did كيف صارت هذه? Shout out to Ghazi, shout out to Empire. How did this whole thing happen? Because this is such a powerhouse move that I'm a fan of.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I really appreciate it. Well, look, it's a good question, but I have to look back at the Spotify days and the artist days to how I got to this. When I was in the streaming platform world, I've experienced the industry 360 in that point, from the artist, the content creator, data analytics,
record labels.
And so I've already did my round. Now I'm here watching the data. And from all this experience, I learned a lot about how many gaps we have. Like, what are the gaps that we have in the industry, in our infrastructure? And while at Spotify, I also worked closely with, just to clarify, at first 2 years at Spotify, I was part of like the Arab Hub and building the Arab Hub. But the last year when I was at Spotify, I was already in the next mission that wasn't related. I moved to a new, my new position was a more international and centric position. I was managing the international artists and industry partnerships. Wow. So I wasn't working with just the Arab region. I was working globally around the world, helping the operation for the master classes that Spotify is giving and things like that. So that even gave me a whole new push of a whole new market, a whole new perspective of other countries, other markets, other cultures. And then going back to what I was doing with launching the hub, I worked closely with Afro culture, Latin culture, Desi culture, and the South Asian culture. And I studied a lot constantly. I kept looking at the decks of when it started, the first days of J Balvin, the first days of all this big artists, Nicky Jam, and this kind of thing. Wow. I kept studying the K-pop, where K-pop started and where it became. So I studied what happened in different cultures and different industries in different countries, and what are the similarities here and the differences. And I constantly kept thinking while at Spotify doing all the job of like how many things I would see, and I just want to speak out. I was like, yo, maybe if we do this would be better. يعني واحد زائد واحد, that would be 2. Or just brainstorm about things, but I couldn't just from the position that I'm in. I had to focus on certain things.
Of course.
And with you're a great example of that, where there was a lot of artists reaching out, trying to inject their music, but they didn't really, there was some things that are missing. And then you supporting constantly artists sounds like, big ass, where's your label? Where is it? Why don't you do this, and this? You know what I mean? Like this type of like something that I felt like is missing. Like, okay, let me just say. So that I felt those gaps. And same with the buckle up couch. Remember when I was like, big ass, we need a buckle up canapé, since you can do it in the car now with the lockdown.
Yeah. Facts. I mean, I love that you take all these challenges, and you're right. And you're and I've said this before, you're one of the reasons why I started to release music right now, because I'm which I want to show you, like what I would have been working on, man. Just incredible stuff. And you are one of those people, if the only person actually that really pushed me in the beginning and said, yeah, you should, and it has opened my mind in incredible way. And now you've seen all these things that happened to you, obviously, and you've seen, and you wanted to jump to the other side to help fix it.
I've seen all the gaps, and I said, okay, I could be in that side now after I built the seeds of this industry, of this region. So I planted those seeds, helped building the strategy around it, and a strategy of other countries. Let me be out and partner and be a business partner, be a cultural partner, musical partner to artists. And since I know a lot of the artists, I know their data as well, so I know what's going on with the labels and things like this. So how can I help with the infrastructure of push that more? And people outside are doing a great job. It's not like I'm not dissing anyone. People are doing an amazing job, amazing work, from people in the industry, from musicians, and everything that has been happening is beautiful, right? And I wanted to be part of that, but add to it my own spices, or whatever you call it.
Wow.
Uh, and
Do you
then
think
when,
the fact that you're sorry, go ahead.
and then when I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, I got offers from other labels. I was getting it up from major labels, now major labels or agencies, brands, and different type of people reaching out. But after seeing how Empire was working and how they were like giving full rights, the master was for the artist. The way Empire is working was, for me, is unique. They're not working as a label, even though that have more than what any label has. They have the distribution, they have the publishing, they have like all this infrastructure that a lot of major labels come to use them too for that.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So seeing that and seeing how their artists are talking about them, hearing how their infrastructure and how the team players that they are, that how they're like for the culture, I was like, I wouldn't go and go into West Asia, North Africa with any other partner. And that's what I want.
It's a business partner, I think, with Empire. Just watching it, how you're doing it, and how Empire does it, the way you guys are. I love what you said, and I think, you know, Nipsey, may his soul rest in peace, say that. All the greats say that about the master situation. Now, not a lot of people know how important that is. So now you're telling me, of course, that Empire doesn't own these masters, right? Like they don't.
Yeah. The way D-Smoke said it the best way D-Smoke put it out when he was signing, and they were like, you were offered by all these majors and you went with Empire, why? And he said, well, you know, because I own my master. This is I'm the pilot of this plane. And he said, and Empire here with me in the backseat helping. And that's exactly what it is. We're here to help, you know? And it's not like, you know.
Quick question here, provoking question for you. It's a provoking question. I want to see. What if every single label was like that? I'm just hypothetically talking. I know it's not like that, because what if everybody was like this? Would the industry be in a better position or worse?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely better position. Yeah. Yeah. What happens right now, when I've seen like some really bad contracts of artists that they send me, they're like, we want to get out of this contract. So right then, I've seen worst contract I've seen was somebody giving advance of like so much money, but then giving the artist only 14%. 14% of their art. 14%. That's all they give the artist. It's like seeing something like that. It's like,
okay, so I think this is an important discussion to have, because a lot of artists would see this. How difficult or easy for them not to be faced with the quick money, or like the المبلغ. You know, they're gonna give you the مبلغ.
The golden chain.
Yeah.
The golden chain. Like
the golden chain. Beautifully said. How do you not faced by all of that, especially when you come up, when you want to be independent, when you want to take care of your family? You know, they all come from that background. So sometimes, how do you let that not affect you?
Yeah, well, the money that they're giving you is a loan. So look at it this way. You're going to own them if you can. That's right. And that happens with a lot of the rappers here, where they got the car, they got the house, and then when they were no longer like interested, they were without the car and the house, and they were in the street. So how do you not, like, look at it this way. If you're climbing on the mountain, right, it takes time. But if you decide to jump, you will slide down easily.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can't just jump. You're going to slide down for sure. So you have to, like, climb organically, nicely, in the right way.
I love
and
that.
And that is what the money, and that is that money. Like, that's that money that they flash in your eyes at the end of the day. Like, Empire would never take more percent than an artist. Empire would never take the full right of the master.
But see, he wants to sign with Empire already. I'm telling you, that's why he's here. He's like, I'm signing with Empire. Ya Allah. But فاهمك, and I think
it's like flashing this like golden chance, like, come, let me put it in your hand. It's not the right way to go. Like, think about it in a way of like, okay, maybe it's better for me to keep growing and not to be in the red zone. Because what happens in a lot of the labels too is, like, if you sign on a big check and then you can't recoup and you're not making good for the label, but for the switch is off, and then you're nothing and you can't do anything with it, and then you have to hustle around to find the next step. I'd rather give an artist like a fair where they could cover where they're at and do the right thing, own their master, and then grow organically up to the top, instead of It's like what we say, which is a perfect example that Tina Davis gave me. Tina Davis is the VP, the head of A&R at Empire. She said, look at it this way. Yeah, she's amazing. She did a lot. Historically, she's like, key person in this industry from early days of Def Jam to every brand of Def Jam. She was in early stages of all that. She managed Chris Brown for 15 years. She's managed a lot of other artists. Now she's with Empire. And we talk a lot. And she said, look at it this way. Everyone else in the industry right now is a light switch. They turn it on, they turn it off whenever they want. We're the dimmer. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, we hold it together with the artist. The artist is the light. And we just put the light up, and we keep turning it on. That's how we do it. We don't just go and turn it on for them, leave, and then come back and switch off and then forget about them. Move to the next room. And that's exactly what it is.
Wow. Man, this is just a lot of knowledge, mashallah, like today. And so you at VP of Strategy and Market, obviously development, Wana. I love that you used Wana. Shout out to that. At Empire. So what's your goal in the next few years? What's in that mind of Suhel right now as we're talking to the 22nd of March?
First calling it Wana, that was also part of the strategy. Just the terminology is a really important thing for me. I don't like to call our region Arabia because it's the wrong term. Arabia is just the Khalij, that's the Arabian Peninsula. So it's the wrong thing to call us Arabia. And the Middle East is the main term. So we are in the middle of the East for the kingdom, from the British Empire, who is the main reason why we are all screwed from the first place. So if I want to decolonialize myself, if I want to stop thinking about our past, make our present go to a better future, I have to decolonialize ourselves with our terminology, we do a lot of things about our culture and grow from there.
So but the way you're doing it on a level that is big level. It's not like you saying that and Empire big.
It's going to take time for people to understand it, and it's going to take time. But what's happening with the new generation, and especially the TikTok generation, the Gen Z, they're loud, they're open, they speak up. They're not quiet people. They're going to come, and I believe there has been already, at least for the last 10 years, a movement of people that are against the term Middle East. But it's growing constantly. So the film festivals in the US, the Arab Film Festival in the US, a lot of them already switched to SWANA, which is Southwest Asia.
Okay,
so that's part of the strategy. that's future strategy.
Yeah. But again, see, you're making it look, it's not about easy. It's about, mashallah, it's such a huge thing that will shift everything, man. And the way you're doing it, just incredible. A couple more questions before I do have some questions from, a couple of people that I want to ask you. There's something going on in the community or the industry, cracking the code, algorithm and stuff like that. There's always that. It's like the thinking of the artist. When I have discussion with artists, they tell me, yo, Has, I'm not getting algorithm love and, they're not loving me. I'm like, don't you see that this is the wrong question to ask? Best, I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong. I'm 41 years old. I don't know, man. I'm just trying to, but the question that I get a lot from artists is Instagram doesn't show me love. I'm like, yeah, Allah. What do you say as somebody who's into the data, mashallah? What do you say about that?
I have a love and hate relationship with data, with the algorithm now. I have a love relationship with data, but love and hate relationship with algorithm. It is, I think, have you seen the Social Dilemma, the film?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yes.
How it's polarizing, a lot of it, the personalization concept. So yes, that explains the hate relation that I have. But there's also love relation. If you look at algorithm as your robot dog that you need to train, so train that dog right. You have to train the dog to give you a hand. You have to train the dog when to not bark, when to eat, and when to walk with you, and when you gotta take that dog to a walk, and that dog is algorithm. And how do you do that? You gotta test it. You gotta keep testing it. and the algorithm is different, of course. There's the streaming platforms algorithm, there's the social media algorithm. It keeps changing. It's never the same.
So how does an artist get out of that? Well, they don't get out of that.
You don't chase it. You just have to keep doing it, and it would come to you. If we're talking about TikTok, be consistent with your. There are things that you could do, like tell your stories, share your knowledge, be consistent of sharing at least once a day a video. Be you, but not like be yourself. No, literally be raw. When I say raw, like some people spend some money on creating a cover for their album they just released, the song that they just released, a new single. How do you want that to stand out of almost 70,000 charts that are getting released every day? Like, how do you do that? Just study all those covers, because the thing is, like, covers covers of films and CDs and all that has changed dramatically in the last 10 years, especially because of Netflix. The way they build their posters has changed the industry for music as well.
Facts.
So how do you do something that could stand out? And I actually did that test for myself, where I just started scrolling with many covers. I put a lot of covers and I started scrolling. I collected those that stood out for me from 2020. I'll share it with you. I took them out and I put them. I was like, okay, this is what stood out. Why did this stood out for me? And I looked at each art of cover. I was like, okay, this makes sense. This is the whole face of the artist. It doesn't have so much noise. It doesn't have so much things. So I easily get connected with the eyes and know what's happening in the single. So be simple. Simplicity is key in today. It's not the overthinking of algorithm, the overthinking of your cover. It just kills your creativity. It doesn't help it.
I love that you said that, but for a lot of people, they're also perfectionists / they procrastinate because of that. Now, where are you as Suhel, as the artist, as you know, obviously the business mentality? How do you? I deal a lot with that. Like, I see a lot of great, incredible artists, but man, there's an artist that just released now a song that was done 6 years ago. I heard it 6 years ago, and now they released it, and they say, it's not like, yeah, bro, of course, 6 years into now you got better, or like you got, I don't know, like you're evolved within 6 years.
Yeah. I had a conversation on an artist like that yesterday. I was saying it's like hard to just let your babies look certain. You want your baby to look in a certain way. You want your kids to look in a certain way. You want it perfect. I was like, yeah, but you know, the way I said it, you could edit it later if you wanted. It's like,
okay.
No, your songs are not your baby. They're like the pre-baby. They're the sperms. Lissa. Some of them become babies, and some of them like
no, I love that. That's actually perfect analogy.
So how, and I'm saying it, but I go through the same thing. So like, let me teach you. No, I go through the same thing. I had that issue. I'm like, no, let me just make it better. Let me just keep working. Let me keep working that. Let me make this piece more animation and animation. I wouldn't sleep. I would stay nights and nights, and then release it, and then it didn't add anything to it. The mid-level is not working anymore. You have to be raw to your face, or fully expensive as like full budget, full huge teamwork. But anything within between slips like
صح. Man, Suhel, thank you so much for your time. Just a few more minutes, and I promise, we're buckling up with you. It's been amazing. A lot of artists that I talk to you like this as well, in our talks, they struggle to find who they guys. If you see my son around, he's my son. He's just very excited right now. I'm talking to him.
It's part of it. This is why I buckle up at home.
I'm telling you. Yeah. Oh man, shout out. So you don't understand. The whole time he's jumping ahead of me, so I'm trying to keep a straight face. Habibi, a lot of times, Suhel, artists don't know who they are. Like they go into this whole thing about, I want to find myself. Now I keep telling them that's the whole journey. Like there's a lot of people that find themselves after 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And some people find themselves after one song. I don't know. So because of your experience, because of what you stand for, because you were able to, you're part of a group that found themselves and khalas, أُرِّخْتُ. خلاص, you are stamped in the history of like what it is. So what do you tell artists like this? What do you tell them? Like they're confused about. Is it sometimes as harsh as maybe this is not for you, or like you just have to be patient? What is it about that question? How do you answer something like that? I don't know myself. I can't find myself.
Sometimes it's harsh, like it's not you, just stop, do something else in your life. Sometimes it's like this, but I can't say that to anyone, of course. But I don't think, I believe like, I don't think, because you mentioned DAM, I don't think DAM, okay, like that's it, that's a DAM, because every project sounded different.
Yeah.
Every song. And it's something that I tell artists, always, your biggest competition is you, and your biggest competitor today is your last song that you released last day. So the way you need to work is like, look at that song, go read the comments, the bad one, the good one, those horrible ones are sometimes what would help you build your next song. Look at your data, who's streaming you, what's their age, gender. If you're in a playlist, what type of playlist, what type of genres were you in?
Not to cut you off, but I'm talking seriously right now. This thing, does it really help what you're saying right now? Like, does it really help if you know who you are? Because I see a lot of takhabbutat in this. Like a lot of people, they don't know la data, wala they don't know nothing, but they're still making it, you know?
Yeah, well, it works for some people, but they have maybe a team that tells them data, or it happens organically, or they hit it right. It happens. You have that, but you have to also know the data well. Like, you know, من زمان كانوا يقولوا قول لي من أصحابك بقول لك من أنت.
صح.
اليوم أنا بقول قول لي شو الداتا بقول لك من أنت. Right? That's the fact of an artist today. هذا المثل الجديد بطل قول لي من أصحابك قول لي من الداتا تاعتك. So looking at your data is really important. إذا بتعال نقول أنت فنان, suddenly you're فنان بDubai right now, and you're noticing that your streams are mostly I'm just throwing random words. The Netherlands. You're artist, you're in Dubai. Your number 2 streaming city is Netherlands. The age are 15 to 20. The gender is mostly female that are listening to you. What does that mean? Mean like, okay, let me find somebody in this category with the same numbers of streams, same type of artist, close to my mentality, close to my sound. Maybe wasn't the same playlist I was in, or maybe some other playlist. When I say playlist, I say generally, not editorial, not anything. It could be like big ass playlist, it could be Suhel personal playlist.
Yeah.
And then we're like, okay, let me see what's around me there. Who's my neighbors? My neighbors, playlist neighbors is a really important term to think of. Like playlist neighbors is something you need to keep in mind.
What does playlist neighbor mean exactly? Like the person next to you in the playlist?
Yeah, حواليك من حواليك the same playlist. And why are they next to you? And why are they after you? Why are they before you? Because there's probably a reason why they're there. And look into that, and then say, okay, let me see this playlist neighbor who's actually from Netherlands, who's actually female artist, who's actually this, and let me check out the following numbers. Okay, we're actually the same numbers, we're actually the same type. So maybe I should collaborate, since I have the audience from their country. Maybe I could help that artist to bring the audience that I have from my country, which, let's say I have only 200 followers and she has 200 followers. How do we work together on that and exchange those 200s and make them 300 or make them even 250? It's fine. Again, you're climbing a mountain with a heavy weight of a lot of things. The algorithm, the package, the lyrics, the brand. There's so much of an artist back these days, but there's so many tools to help an artist today. There haven't been historically, never been that amount of artist-friendly tools in the world to help an artist. Use that. Use it all. Look at it. Go watch videos. So there's a lot of things to look at and to carry around. Yeah.
One of the things I always wanted to ask you was the term collaboration. A lot of people, obviously it's at the end of the day, musiqa adwaq, and no matter what, like, you know, if I vibe with that person, but I feel, and again, I don't want to sound harsh, but I feel a lot of people right now don't want to also see other people win, if that makes any sense. Like they were like, oh, if I got him or her, they'll be more famous than me. And I've heard that before from artists. Like they just told me, you know, like I find that a bit, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Because, you know, I come in, I try to make everybody win, and it's hard sometimes. Like, it's just very hard if you don't want to win, and we all want to win, right? Like, the fact that you're in Empire right now is a huge win for everybody in this region, everybody, because you'll be able to help. So, you know, that's why we celebrated this. We call, like, you know, accomplishment and this news. So, what do you tell those people?
You kill this collaboration right away. You don't push it. That's what I think. I would say, okay, if that's your type of mentality, let's go next step. I think a collaboration has to be organic more than anything. Yeah. Artists have to feel the other artists. Like, these days it's hard because everything is so virtual. But if you put two artists in the studio and they're having their ahwa and their food and they're eating and they're laughing and they're joking, that song is going to be the best song, even if they both are not like great artists. But just because having this chemistry, having this energy, this good vibes already before thinking of creating a song, this is different. But then bringing two artists who have different type of egos, different type of growth, different type of following, that one of them or the other or both are saying that I don't want to share my audience, like, you know, like gatekeeping his audience, like they can't send anyone else, is like, which is weird. It's something that you don't have to force it. You're like, okay, thanks. I would love to work with you in the future with a different artist that you think that fits you, someone that you both connecting. And you, as a person who like collaboration and to collaborate, to put few people together, you yourself have to study maybe the behavior of those artists online. How are they communicating with each other? Is this artist liking this artist's post? So maybe there is a good chemistry here, social media type of support. Then maybe they since they're like exchanging publicly, like that means there's also more exchange behind the scene. Let me check that. خليني احس هنا ايش بيصير من وراء الكواليس. That might work a bit better.
Yeah.
Or going to the other opposite side, and maybe like two artists in the same level, but they don't even know each other at all. And you're the one that introducing them, and then from there building a relationship. That also might work. But
I think having this conversation with you also has made sure and showed as well, there's not one way for success or making it, or like a lot of people come and ask me, Suhel, all the time, what is making it? Like, I get asked, it's what is making it? And my answer is always, sometimes if you're on a magazine, it's like, you know, making it. So what's your definition of success or making it for Suhel?
You have to make it to say I'm making it. And what I mean by that is like, being a musician these days and having the ability and the opportunity to actually have a microphone that you can record, that's a privilege to have that. So what you need to do is to challenge yourself and to constantly record and be consistent with recording. Say, okay, my goal is once a week, I have to be done with a song. Or say, my goal is every day one song. Or my goal is this. And then set the type of boundaries to yourself and keep recording song. If you get to that point of you recording and creatively evolving and learning how to unleash the songs that you're holding like this because you're afraid to put it out, if you have this like flexibility, you're making it. And then the audience will come. Be consistent, be collaborative, learn how to say I want to learn more. You know, a lot of artists just say, they'd rather say they know everything and they don't want to work with anyone else. So be more challenge yourself, be more open, but to say how to make it, there isn't any right or wrong. You have to just really keep doing it.
Like I said, I wanted to document this, and more power to you, bro. If there's anything at the end that you'd like to say, man, to everybody watching this, please go ahead, my brother.
I mean, I think I said it all. Just like, you know, for audience, support the artist, and stream those songs with any app you're using. It doesn't matter where. There's a few ways to do it. If there's an artist who's releasing a song, save that song to your library, save it to your own personal playlist, because that shows engagement. Listen to it till the end, share it on your social media, engage with their comment, like, save their posts, keep that engagement going. And we're definitely in a new era when it comes to music industry, of how fans are closer to artists more than ever. So keep that going. And for artists, look at your data, look at your followers, read those comments, see research that fan behavior, because fandom is the future at the end of the day. Right now, we don't have any app that actually put in it. It doesn't exist, but that would be the future, when there would be one app that has it all, where you can engage with the artist, where you can watch the video of an artist, listen to a song, listen to a podcast, be in their release party, be in the after party of their new release, and all of that in one app. That future going to come soon. So keep that engagement coming till we get to the right app. That would happen one day.
Oof, mashallah alaik. Actually, we just had a question right now just coming in. When is Slingshot Hip Hop gonna be on Netflix? Very random. Like, is that something that can happen? I don't know. Like, is that something?
The link, I'll put the link when this is out. When this episode is out, I'll give you the video link to post it as well, for
Amazing.
people to go in and watch it for free.
Yeah, because I think it's really important. Much love to you, Suhel. Thank you for your time. 2 hours and like a couple of minutes, man. God bless you guys. Please like and subscribe. These are the handles. Please go follow them. Empire are doing an incredible job. Suhel is just an incredible human being. We talked why. We love you guys. We say assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Salamat.